What do a horse, a pair of broken glasses, and a red plastic toy shovel all have in common? They all could hold clues to some of New Zealand's most haunting missing persons cases, items or possessions once carried by those who vanished. Today we delve into 10 of the most chilling unsolved missing persons cases in New Zealand from the past 60 years. Each story is a fragment of a larger puzzle waiting to be solved. Kia ora, g'day, welcome back to Shadow Matter, where I take a look at a darker side of our world with a focus on stories and cases from Australia and New Zealand, here every second Sunday. I want to take a moment to thank my channel members, you bloody legends. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you are interested in seeing a behind the scenes look at updates to popular videos, then consider joining Beyond the Shadows for exclusive members only videos. Today we are taking a look at the 10 most baffling missing persons cases in New Zealand. These cases are all unsolved, and some may be linked to a series of sinister events with a deeper and darker truth that has yet to be revealed. Starting right off with case number 10, the mysterious disappearance of Jim Donnelly. Jim Donnelly was a highly intelligent and dedicated scientist who worked at the Glenbrook steel mill for many years. He was described as reliable, punctual, and devoted to both his work and his family. On the morning of June 21, 2004, he left for work as usual, but he never returned home. His car was found in the company parking space. His belongings were inside, including his briefcase and personal effects. However, Donnelly himself had vanished without a trace. What makes this case so unusual? The steel mill is a vast industrial complex with areas hazardous to unprotected personnel, but also outfitted with numerous safety protocols. Donnelly knew this workplace intimately and would not have taken unnecessary risks. Despite exhaustive searches of the mill and surrounding areas, including the furnace systems, slag pits, and chemical storage facilities, no remains, clothing, or forensic traces were found. Key theories, so a few of them. Number one is an accident in the steel mill, okay? One early theory was that Jim may have accidentally fallen into a vat or furnace, completely disintegrating his body. However, this was considered highly unlikely by investigators, as such an event would have triggered alarms or been noticed by co-workers. No abnormalities were detected in the machinery logs. 2. Was it self-inflicted? Another possibility considered was self-infliction, perhaps by deliberately entering a dangerous area of the mill, but there was no history of depression or mental illness, and no note or warning signs were ever found. His wife and family reported no unusual behaviour. Number 3. Foul play. There are lingering suspicions about whether Donnelly may have discovered something at work that put him in danger. He was reportedly working on sensitive material and may have had disagreements with colleagues, though no hard evidence ever emerged. Some theories suggest he was silenced or met with foul play, possibly with the scene covered up. 4. A voluntary disappearance. Less plausible is the idea that Donnelly voluntarily walked away from his life. He had a loving family, no apparent debts or enemies, and left behind all his belongings, including his car and wallet. His bank accounts and identity have never been used since.
Yeah, there's nothing to indicate he would be the subject of some sort of accident. There's nothing to indicate that he had created a new life for himself. There's nothing to indicate that he was the victim of foul play. And some of his personal property being located in the acid bath, 4 or 5 days later, poses more questions than answers.
It's an ongoing mystery nearly 2 decades later. Jim Donnelly's case remains open. Police have not ruled out any possibilities, but the case has grown cold. There have been periodic appeals for information, but no credible leads have emerged. His wife, Tracy Donnelly, has been a vocal advocate for continuing the investigation. She has appeared in media interviews and documentaries pleading for anyone with information to come forward. She firmly believes her husband didn't just walk away. In her words, quote, "Jim would never abandon us. Something happened to him that day and someone knows what it was." End quote. Case number 9, Heidi Charles, 1976. December the 31st, 1976, 36-year-old Heidi Charles disappeared from Rotorua while running errands. She never returned to her family's camper van. Her belongings were never used again, and no evidence of her fate has been found. Heidi's disappearance remains an unsolved enigma. A holiday that turned tragic. Originally from Africa, Heidi had relocated to Wellington with her husband Robert Charles and their 2 sons, just 7 months prior. The family decided to spend the holiday at the Okawa Bay motor camp near Rotorua. On December the 31st, 1976, Robert dropped Heidi off in central Rotorua to do some shopping, planning to reunite an hour later at their camper van on Fenton Street. Heidi never returned, and she has not been seen since. The day of Heidi's disappearance was one of the busiest in Rotorua, yet no one reported seeing her after she parted ways with her husband. Police conducted extensive searches, including checking local lakes and even placing a sheep carcass into a hot pool to observe decomposition patterns, hoping that it might provide clues. Despite these efforts, no trace of Heidi was found. There were 2 unconfirmed sightings, one in a clothing store shortly before her scheduled meeting with her family, and another on the outskirts of town. However, these leads did not yield any substantial information. Various theories have been proposed regarding Heidi's disappearance. Some speculated that she may have chosen to disappear voluntarily due to personal pressures. However, her bank accounts remained untouched and her passport has never been used since, making this theory less plausible. Another theory considered the possibility of foul play. True crime writer Scott Bainbridge explored this case in his book Without Trace on the Trail of New Zealand's Missing Persons, suggesting that Heidi's disappearance might be connected to other unsolved cases in the area. Despite the passage of time, Heidi Charles' case remains open. Her disappearance continues to baffle investigators, and her family still seeks closure. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact the New Zealand Police. Number 8. Terrence Henry, 1991. June the 20th, 1991, Terrence Henry left his Christchurch home to run errands and never returned. His car was later found abandoned, but no other clues emerged. On June the 20th, 1991, Terrence left his family home at 45 Tarbert Street in Woolston, Christchurch, around 4:30 p.m. He informed his parents that he was heading to the St. Martin's post office, approximately 2 kilometres away, to withdraw money. He departed in his distinctive hand-painted orange Datsun 120Y, registration HS359, notable for its missing front passenger seat and overall poor condition. A polar blast was affecting Canterbury that day, keeping most residents indoors. Terrence never arrived at the post office, and neither he nor his vehicle has been seen since. Following his disappearance, police conducted extensive media campaigns and inquiries but found no confirmed sightings or leads. Terrence's mental health condition, which required regular medication, added urgency to the search. However, his medication, passport, and personal belongings were left behind, suggesting he had not planned an extended absence. In July 2013, after a review of unsolved missing person cases, Canterbury Police reopened the investigation into Terrence's disappearance. Detective Inspector Tom Fitzgerald stated that inquiries would extend to areas where Terrence had connections, such as Kaikoura and the West Coast. Despite these efforts, no new evidence emerged, and the case was referred to the coroner in March 2014. Terrence's family has long believed that he was murdered. They suspect that the father of Terrence's ex-girlfriend was involved, citing a hostile response when confronted about Terrence's disappearance. A coroner's inquest heard these concerns, but no charges were filed due to lack of evidence. Despite reactivating the investigation in 2013, authorities have been unable to determine what happened. Terrence's case remains unsolved. Case 7, Jessica Boyce, 2019. Now, this next one is a little close to home for me, as I knew this person very well. In fact, she is my stepsister, Jessica Boyce, and I'll try to keep it together for your guys' sake. In March 19, 2019, 27-year-old Jessica Boyce was last seen in Renwick, Marlborough, driving her mother's red Holden Rodeo ute. The vehicle was found 3 days later near Lake Chalice with Jessica's broken glasses inside. The car was found at the car park in the Richmond Ranges near Lake Chalice. Also, the investigators did find a crystal necklace that she wore constantly. Initially, it was treated as a missing persons case. The investigation took a grim turn in October 2019 when police reclassified it as a homicide. Detective Senior Sergeant Kieran Sloan, leading the inquiry, dubbed Operation Largo, stated that the placement of the vehicle appeared to be staged, and this was obviously a red herring. Well, the investigators think it might be a red herring. Police have identified a group of 8 to 10 individuals connected to the Marlborough methamphetamine scene as persons of interest. This group includes both males and females, some of whom are related. Investigators believe that while not all members know the full story, but each holds a piece of information crucial to solving the case. And before we go on, I have been sent many emails and many comments about who was involved. I'm kind of aware of the names of the people who were involved. No, I'm not going to share this publicly. It is still an ongoing investigation. Thank you for everyone for your concerns about this case. But yeah, I'll push through. We'll keep going. Forensic analysis of the broken glasses recovered from the ute revealed 2 DNA profiles, one belonging to Jess and an unidentified male. In February 2024, nearly 5 years after Jess's disappearance, police conducted a search of a Marlborough home in connection with the case, indicating ongoing investigative efforts. In March 2024, a month later, police announced a $100,000 reward for information leading to the conviction of those responsible for Jessica's disappearance. They also offered potential immunity for accomplices not directly involved in the homicide who came forward with pertinent information. Our family continues to seek closure. Her mother expressed the enduring pain of not knowing her daughter's fate, emphasizing the family's desperate need for answers. And we desperately need them, so if anyone knows anything, please get in contact with those involved with Operation Largo. I know this may come across as a little biased to be putting this case on here, but we really do need answers, and if anyone knows or has seen something, please come forward. Jessica's case remains one of New Zealand's most perplexing unsolved missing person / homicides. Despite extensive investigations and public appeals, her whereabouts are still unknown. Authorities urge anyone with information to contact Operation Largo team at 0800 cold case or email op.largo@police.gov.nz. Yeah, that was tough. I should have really paid someone else to read that. Number 6, Zhao-Beckenridge and Mike Zhao-Beckenridge, 2015. March 2015, Zhao-Beckenridge and his 11-year-old stepson, Mike Zhao-Beckenridge, vanished in Southland. Their vehicle was later found at the base of a cliff near Curio Bay, but neither body was recovered. This case is heavily debated online by armchair detectives and enthusiasts alike. Speculations abound. Did they perish in a murder, or did John orchestrate a disappearance? Despite investigations and a coronial inquest, their fate remains unknown. Zhao-Beckenridge, a Swedish-born helicopter pilot, met Mike's mother, Fiona Liu, in 2006 while working in Afghanistan. The couple eventually settled in Queenstown, New Zealand. Their relationship ended in 2014, and in February 2015, Fiona was granted full custody of Mike, who had been living with John. Mike reportedly struggled with the custody arrangement, expressing distress in communications with his stepfather. On March the 13th, 2015, Zhao-Beckenridge breached a court order by collecting Mike from James Hargis College in Invercargill. Over the following week, the pair was sighted in the Catlins region of Southland. On March the 20th, Beckenridge's dark blue Volkswagen was found at the base of an 88-metre cliff near Curio Bay. Despite extensive searches, no bodies were recovered from the vehicle or surrounding area. The circumstances of the disappearance led to 2 primary theories. 1. Murder, self-inflicted. Authorities posited that Beckenridge may have driven off the cliff with Mike, resulting in their deaths. However, the absence of bodies and certain forensic ambiguities have cast doubt on this theory. Staged disappearance. Others, including Fiona Liu, believe that Beckenridge orchestrated a staged accident to disappear with Mike. Supporting this theory are reports of sightings and the lack of conclusive evidence confirming their deaths. In April 2025, a coroner's hearing was convened to assess new evidence. A witness initially claimed that his cousin, Paul Watson, had assisted Beckenridge and Mike in faking their deaths. However, this claim was later retracted in court. An engineering expert testified that while it was possible for the vehicle to have gone over the cliff without a driver, the probability was low, suggesting someone was likely behind the wheel. The fate of Zhao-Beckenridge and Mike Zhao-Beckenridge remains unresolved. The case continues to captivate public attention, with ongoing debates about the true nature of their disappearance. Authorities urge anyone with information to come forward to aid in resolving this enduring mystery. Number 5. Kirsa Jensen, 1983. September the 1st, 1983, Kirsa Jensen went missing while riding her horse near Napier. Her horse was found wandering, injured, but Kirsa was gone. Despite extensive searches and investigations, no trace of Kirsa has been found. Her disappearance remains one of New Zealand's most haunting cold cases. Kirsa was a bright and compassionate teenager from Napier, and she was also an avid equestrian. On that spring afternoon, she set out alone on her horse, Commodore, along the beachfront in Awatoto, Napier. Her friend had cancelled their planned ride, but Kirsa decided to go ahead. She was last seen near an old World War II gun emplacement at the mouth of the Tutaikuri River. Witnesses reported seeing her with a bloodied face, which she attributed to a fall from her horse. She mentioned that someone had gone to fetch her parents and she expected them to arrive shortly. When Kirsa failed to return home by 5:30 p.m, her family began searching and alerted the police. Commodore was found wandering near the gun emplacement, but Kirsa was nowhere to be found. A massive search ensued, involving police, volunteers, and even psychics, but no trace of Kirsa was discovered. A key witness reported seeing a white ute with brown sides near the gun emplacement. Another witness described a man approximately 1.8 meters tall, aged between 45 to 50, holding a girl matching Kirsa's description at arm's length. Despite these leads, the investigation faced numerous challenges, including a lack of physical evidence. Primary suspect, John Russell, a man with a prior conviction for rape, came forward, identifying himself as the man seen with Kirsa at the gun emplacement. He confessed to her murder in 1985, but later retracted his confession. Police found no evidence linking him to the crime and no charges were filed. In 1992, Russell died by his own hands, leaving behind unanswered questions. Despite the passage of time, Kirsa's case remains open. Advancements in forensic science, such as forensic palynology, the study of pollen and spores, have been applied in the hopes of uncovering new evidence. In 2012, human bones were discovered in the area, but they were determined to be too old to be Kirsa's. Kirsa's disappearance profoundly impacted her family and the community. Her mother, Robin Jensen, became an advocate for victims' families, working as a school guidance counsellor and conducting research on the grief experiences of parents who have lost a child through violent crime. Memorials have been established in Kirsa's honour, including a plaque and a Pahutakawa tree at the site of her disappearance. In 2006, the tree was vandalised, a stark reminder of the pain that still lingers. Additionally, a trust fund was created to support veterinary science students at Massey University, reflecting Kirsa's aspiration to become a veterinarian. And that's just really sad, man, that poor girl. Number 4, Iraena Asher, 2004. I've gone in depth about this next case before, and it's truly bizarre. October the 10th, 2004, 25-year-old Iraena Asher disappeared from Piha Beach after a distress call to emergency services. A taxi was dispatched to the wrong address, and Iraena was later seen leaving a local residence walking toward the beach in minimal clothing. On the morning of October the 11th, 2004, Iraena travelled to Piha with her new boyfriend and his friend, arriving at the latter's house around 9 a.m. Shortly after, she left the house and walked approximately 4 k's to the beach. Around 11:30 a.m, a visiting family observed her sitting on the sand crying and appearing disoriented. They offered her a ride home, but she declined. Returning to the house later, she was wet, covered in sand, and visibly upset. Over the next few hours, her behaviour became increasingly erratic. She reportedly removed her clothing multiple times and acted seductively. While she smoked cannabis, there were no evidence of other drug use. At approximately 9 p.m, Iraena made a 111 emergency call to New Zealand police, expressing fears for her safety. Despite the availability of patrol cars, police opted to send a taxi. What? Citing concerns about potential misuse of emergency services for free rides. Like, come on, guys. And yeah, that's just bizarre. Why would the police do that? And here's where it gets weirder. Tragically, the taxi was dispatched to the wrong address in Onehunga, a suburb on the opposite side of Auckland. Come on, guys. Later that evening, Iraena was found wandering the streets by local residents Julia Woodhouse and Bobby Carroll, who took her into their home, provided her with food and a place to rest. However, at 1:10 a.m, she left their residence and was subsequently seen by others, semi-clad, walking towards the beach. She ran off before she could be approached. This was the last known sighting of her. The Asher family endured further heartbreak when Iraena's mother, Betty Ann Asher, passed away in 2019 without ever knowing her daughter's fate. In December 2022, Iraena's father, Michael Asher, went missing and was found deceased 3 days later, having suffered a heart attack. Despite extensive searches, no trace of Iraena was found. Theories include accidental drowning and foul play, but without evidence, her disappearance remains a haunting mystery. The circumstances that surround the case of Iraena Asher may be linked to a series of other unsolved disappearances at the Piha Beach area west of Auckland. I've done a video on that theory, so go and check that out after this, link below. Number 3, Jeffrey Hill, 1968. September 1968, nearly 3-year-old Jeffrey Hill was playing near Matarawa Creek in Tokoroa when he vanished. His red plastic spade was found floating in the creek, but Jeffrey was never seen again. Jeffrey Hill was playing outside his family home in New Zealand. His mother briefly left him unattended, and upon her return, Jeffrey was gone. An immediate search of the surrounding area yielded no clues. Authorities launched an extensive search operation involving local police, volunteers, and search and rescue teams. Despite their efforts, no trace of Jeffrey was found. The case garnered national attention with media coverage and public appeals for information. Several theories have been proposed regarding Jeffrey's disappearance. An accidental disappearance, some believe that Jeffrey may have wandered off and succumbed to the elements, or an accident. Abduction? Others suspect foul play, suggesting that Jeffrey may have been abducted. However, due to the lack of evidence, none of these theories have been confirmed. Despite draining and searching the creek, no trace was found. The coroner ruled it a drowning. But the shallow waters cast doubt on this conclusion. Decades later, the case remains open, a poignant reminder of a child lost. Like our next case, number 2, Amber Lee Cruickshank, 1992. October the 17th, 1992, 2-year-old Amber Lee Cruickshank vanished near Lake Wakatipu while attending a family gathering. In the brief moments when her parents' attention was diverted, Amber Lee disappeared without a trace. Amber Lee was last seen at a property on Cornwall Street in Kingston, located on the southern shores of Lake Wakatipu. She was attending a barbecue with her mother, Nicola Cruickshank, and stepfather, James Gill, and other community members after a day of boating on the lake. In a brief window of less than 20 minutes, during which each parent believed the other was supervising Amber Lee, the toddler disappeared without a trace. Following her disappearance, an extensive search was launched involving local authorities, volunteers, and dive teams. The lake's shoreline was meticulously combed and divers searched Lake Wakatipu, but no evidence was found. The initial search was called off on October the 19th, 1992, but Nicola and James continued their efforts independently until December of that year. Over the years, several theories have been proposed regarding Amber Lee's disappearance. Accidental drowning. Given the proximity to Lake Wakatipu, it was initially speculated that Amber Lee may have wandered into the lake. However, thorough searches yielded no evidence to support this theory. Abduction. Authorities have considered the possibility of abduction either by someone known to the family or an opportunistic stranger. Inconsistencies in statements from individuals present at the barbecue have been noted, prompting further scrutiny. Foul play. In 2021, police announced a $100,000 reward for information leading to the resolution of the case, indicating a belief that Amber Lee may have been the victim of foul play. And that's just really sad. Despite these avenues of investigation, no conclusive evidence has emerged to determine what happened to Amber Lee. The case remains open and active under Operation Oliver. Detective Sergeant John Keane has emphasised the importance of new information, stating that someone may hold the key to solving this case. In 2021, the announcement of a $100,000 reward led to over 70 calls with tips and information demonstrating that public interest and hope for resolution persist. Nicola Cruickshank, Amber Lee's mother, has faced immense challenges since her daughter's disappearance. Despite personal struggles, she has remained steadfast in her quest for answers. Nicola has publicly expressed her belief that someone knows what happened to Amber Lee and continues to appeal for anyone with information to come forward. Despite the exhaustive searches and the $100,000 reward offered decades later, no evidence has surfaced and the case remains unsolved. Number 1. Mona Blades, 1975. May 31st, 1975, 18-year-old Mona Blades sets out from Hamilton hitchhiking to Hastings to attend her nephew's birthday. Witnesses last saw her entering an orange Datsun station wagon on the Napier-Taupo Road. Despite extensive investigations, including the examination of over 500 suspects, Mona's fate remains unknown. Over the years, various leads emerged: a man who rented an orange Datsun and later died by his own hand, gang affiliations, and even a name etched into concrete, yet none brought closure. Mona's disappearance continues to be one of New Zealand's most enduring mysteries. On the first day of the Queen's birthday long weekend in 1975, Mona Blades set out to hitchhike from Hamilton to Hastings to attend her nephew's birthday. She was last seen on the Napier-Taupo Road, reportedly entering an orange Datsun 120Y station wagon. A truck driver observed a vehicle matching this description veering off the highway and stopping on rural Matia Road. When the driver passed by again shortly after, the car was empty. Blades' disappearance sparked one of New Zealand's largest manhunts, with over 500 suspects investigated. Despite 6 months of intensive searching and 5,000 hours dedicated to the case, no physical evidence of her body was ever found. Several individuals became persons of interest. John Freeman, an Auckland man who had rented an orange Datsun during the weekend of Blades' disappearance. 2 weeks later, on the day police announced they were searching for such a vehicle, Freeman shot and wounded a student before taking his own life. Charlie Hughes, a Hamilton man now residing in Australia. Hughes has been repeatedly questioned by police and has publicly denied any involvement. He has expressed frustration over being a long-time suspect, stating that it had adversely affected his life. An unnamed elderly man was also another individual who owned an orange Datsun at the time, remains a person of interest. Rumours suggest he may have buried the vehicle with Blades inside, but no concrete evidence has been found. In 2003, police investigated a report of Blades' name etched on a garage floor in Huntly, fearing it might indicate a grave. It was later revealed to be a prank, and the former property owner apologised to the family. And so they should. What a sick joke. In January 2012, police excavated the concrete laundry floor of a house in Kawerau, searching for her body, but found nothing of interest. In 2018, the case was revisited in the television documentary series Cold Case. Detectives uncovered that the original investigation may have been misled by focusing heavily on the orange Datsun. Interesting. Witnesses reported seeing Blades at the Spa Hotel in Taupo with another young woman and later entering a red Toyota station wagon. These sightings were not thoroughly investigated at the time. The documentary also revealed that the widely circulated photo of Blades taken when she was a bridesmaid did not accurately represent her appearance at the time of her disappearance. She had a shorter, mullet-style haircut, which may have led to missed identifications by potential witnesses. Furthermore, detectives discovered that Blades had associations with biker gangs in Auckland and Hamilton. It's possible that members of these gangs were travelling through Taupo en route to a gathering in Wellington during the long weekend. This connection has led investigators to consider gang involvement in her disappearance. Despite the passage of 5 decades, Mona Blades' case remains unsolved. Her family continues to seek closure, and authorities urge anyone with information to come forward. This case serves as a somber reminder of the enduring impact of unresolved disappearances. And that is today's episode. What are your thoughts on any of these cases? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for joining me here again in the shadows. Much appreciated. If you have any information on any of the cases that I've talked about that could help, please contact the New Zealand Police or call Crime Stoppers anonymously. Like, subscribe, and thump that bell icon, and I'll see you here next time in the shadows.